Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Damme, and you are watching Flick Connection, and this is the Flicks of the Week. So what is the Flicks of the Week, you may ask, because my subscriber base has doubled since I did one of these. I did a long series of Flicks of the Week every Monday in 2018, and in this show, I gave you over 10 movie recommendations from across all the major streaming services. And then now that I'm bringing it back, I'm going to give you even more. I'm going to talk about a short film you can currently watch on YouTube, another video on YouTube that's really good about movies, a clip of the week. But let's get right into some movie recommendations. Donnie Brasco is currently available on Amazon Prime. This is a fantastic gangster movie for a couple of reasons. One, it's just a really good movie, really well done, good performances from Johnny Depp and Al Pacino. But what's really great about this for people who are fans of the genre is that Al Pacino sort of plays this failed and aging mob guy, this connected guy who never really made it into the inner circle, that's too old, time has passed him, and it's this great sort of balance in his career with The Godfather. You get this just a separate look at it, and it's just a different type of a mob movie and a different look into that world, and it is based on a true story, so really, really fantastic. This is one that I was able to watch over and over again in college. I loved it that much. If you've never seen it, I can't recommend it enough. So on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there's a movie called Long Lost. Now this just came out recently. I did a full review on it, and it stars Catherine Corcoran, who is a friend of the show. You may recognize her from her role in Terrifier. You might recognize her a little bit more if she is hanging upside down naked while being sawed in half, but she's in this movie Long Lost that I did recommend. However, this one is really weird. And it's not weird in the sense that the story's told in a weird way or anything. It's weird because the characters in it are really odd. But it worked for me ultimately. I kind of kept waiting to see where this one was going, and I thought the payoff was great. I thought it all worked together. So this isn't a strong recommendation only because it's not for everybody, but if you like my weirder movie recommendations, this one just got added to Prime, and it's a good little watch. Speaking of mob movies, Eastern Promises is on Hulu right now and not for long. I believe it's leaving on June 30th, so another good reason to click the subscribe button, click the bell, so you get notified when I put a new Flicks of the Week out, because I will tell you about stuff that's about to leave. Eastern Promises is a great mob movie. It's a Russian mob. Viggo Mortensen plays a really great character. The rest of the cast is great too. Vincent Cassel is in it. Naomi Watts, just good performances, but then just a good mob movie. There's some violence in it. There's some blood. There's a sauna fight that goes on forever that works really well, and then it is a very good story. A very strong recommendation for me, but don't forget, watch it before the end of June is out. And then also on Hulu, one of the best movies I've seen in a really long time. It was included in my Hulu binge watch that came out last week. I'll put a link in the description to that video, but The Guilty is from Denmark, and it all takes place in a 911 call center. So you're just stuck with one actor. All of the other performances are coming across over the phone. So it's very similar to the movie Locke with Tom Hardy, but it's a way better story. And I liked Locke. This one is, I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I've seen in a long time. You do have to read the subtitles, but this movie is well worth it. This is one I'll recommend to almost anybody. There are some pretty horrific things that happen to children in this story. I hate to give you that spoiler, but if you're overly sensitive to that, this movie is going to turn your stomach. So I recommend it for anybody except people that are maybe not gonna handle that aspect of the story well. Occasionally on this channel, I recommend movies from the streaming service Shudder. Shudder is all horror movies and some thrillers, and it's a really good service. I do like it, I use it and like it, but I don't want to recommend horror on it this week. I want to mix things up and recommend this weird thriller from Australia called Wake in Fright. Now this is a classic movie in Australia, and even Martin Scorsese re-released it in the US not too long ago, like within the last 10 years. I love this movie. This one's about a guy who's traveling through Australia and gets stuck in this little town, and in this town that mostly consists of men, all they do is drink. They're just drinking, playing this coin toss game, this gambling game, and he really gets sort of consumed by the culture of this like hyper masculine, alcoholic, kangaroo shooting, gambling all your money away sort of lifestyle. He just gets completely consumed by it and ultimately cannot escape this place, and it becomes kind of a horror story, but it's not like a slasher. Nobody's trying to kill him or anything. It's a really good movie from the 70s. If you're into the way I'm talking about it, it is a Darren Van Damme pick. It is one of the types of movies that I really like to recommend. On HBO right now, Crazy Rich Asians is available. It's one of the best romantic comedies to have come out in recent years. I don't recommend romantic comedies that often on this channel because they tend to all be basically the same movie, but Crazy Rich Asians is top notch. It takes everything up to 11. It works. It's got really great family sequences. There's an actress that I'm digging everything she's doing. She goes by the name Awkwafina. She's really funny, and the other characters are good too, but it's a funny scenario and situation, and it all plays out well. This one did get a ton of buzz. This was kind of like the new Big Fat Greek Wedding. If you want to watch a really good rom-com, you're gonna be hard-pressed to find one much better anywhere on streaming right now, and Crazy Rich Asians is on HBO. The movie Searching is another Asian cast that is a great little thriller about a dad trying to find his missing daughter, and he's doing it all through the computer. So whereas like The Guilty all takes place in this call center, Searching actually all takes place on the computer, and it's kind of a found footage type of thing, but it's a mixture of webcams, phone calls, actually searching on the web, and it sounds kind of lame, like it's almost too much, like two-dimensional for a movie, but it actually worked really well. The story's really compelling. You can check that out on STARZ right now. And then Den of Thieves is my pick of the week for Showtime. Really good heist movie. Heat is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Den of Thieves is a love letter to Heat. There's no doubt about it. There's some sequences in it very similar to sequences out of Heat, and it's done in a clever way. I think the filmmaker did a good job of paying homage and not ripping off Heat. At least I felt that way about it. Gerard Butler plays a cop in this one. It's good and gritty. It's a rated R heist movie. One of my favorite genres. So if you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out if you have Showtime. Now, we're on to what everybody is here for. That's my Netflix recommendations. And then, like I said, I've got a short film with the link in the description. I've got another video I want you to check out. So I've got more movie-related stuff coming up after my Netflix recommendations. But Beats is the newest Netflix original movie. I did a full review on it. There's a link to that in the description. I really am surprised at how much I like this movie, and that's because it's a coming-of-age story about a kid that lives in the hood that's gonna make it out, or at least trying to make it out, from making music. It worked so well. It's one of, I think, the best Netflix originals they've put out yet, just in terms of quality. The quality of the story was tight, the performances were good. You do not have to be into this one in order to really enjoy it. I really had no interest in it and watched it because of the channel, and again, am just totally surprised at how much I liked it. Otherlife is a sci-fi movie. It's one word, Otherlife, and it's from Australia. It's going to appeal to fans of Black Mirror. In fact, I think this movie was better than the latest season of Black Mirror. and I don't want to say too much more than that. I watched it in preparation for a video on sci-fi movies on Netflix that'll be coming out later this week. This is one of my favorites that I've seen. If you like my recommendations typically, make this one of the next ones that you watch. And then, not today, but on the 26th, supposedly, sometimes they change the date, but very soon, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse will be on Netflix. It's my pick of the week, I guess we could say. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's a nice addition to Marvel because it's different. There's so much content, Marvel-related movie content right now, and Spider-Verse manages to really stand out and be very, very different. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. I've watched it a couple of times. If you have not seen it yet, definitely make plans to watch it when Netflix adds it, supposedly on the 26th. In the theaters, it's a fairly dead week. That's because July 4th is next week, and there's a ton of stuff coming out. I'll be talking about all of that. But Toy Story came out last week. I've seen it. I do recommend it. I think it might be the weakest of the four, but not by a big margin, which still makes it pretty good. I go into the story a little more in this week's podcast, which is not out just yet, but if you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, it's a separate channel, but there's a link to that in the description. There's all kinds of stuff in the description, so be sure to go check it out. But I took my son to the movie theater for the very first time this past weekend to see Toy Story 4. It was great. I talk about that and a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other movie recommendations in the podcast as well, so go check that out. As far as rentals go for this week, Dumbo is the only thing getting released. I have not been a fan of Tim Burton's remakes. I've heard mixed reviews on Dumbo. I haven't seen it, but it's really the only thing that looks like it's worth renting that came out this week. But previously, there's a couple worth looking at. Us is available. I talk about that in the podcast. Captive State looks like a really cool alien invasion movie. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to watching it. And I'm also looking forward to watching The Mustang, which is about an inmate that sort of raises and bonds with a horse. And it stars, I have a hard time, but Matthias Schoenaerts? I don't know, it's like I have trouble saying his name, but I love everything I've seen him in. He's a fantastic actor. This looks like an actor's movie, so I'll be looking forward to watching that one soon as well. Now, I've been teasing out a short of the week. You'll notice, even though I often recommend at least one horror movie, and that will be kind of a staple of the flicks of the week, I didn't really have a real true horror movie on this list. That's because this week, my short film is a horror movie. It's called The Armoire. Now this one was a little slow. You know, you're only looking at like a 10-15 minute video, but it's a little slow getting in, but it had a chilling payoff. But I love short horror because it allows someone to creatively come up with a scare and craft it in that 15 minutes. And if it works, sometimes you see those then adapted into full-length features. Every week I'll give you a podcast clip as well to go check out if you're looking for additional Darren Van Damme entertainment. And because I've taken a break from the podcast, I'm only just now resuming it this week. My clip's a little bit older, but it's one of my most popular clips in recent months. And that's the video where Catherine Corcoran from Terrifier and Long Lost that we talked about just a few minutes ago, it's her talking about being sawed in half while hanging upside down and naked in Terrifier. Not only is that a crazy sequence in that movie, but it's very interesting me talking with her about it and her talking about her decision to do it, what it was like on set, all of that stuff. So that's a pretty fun clip. You can check that out into the description. And then the last link in the description, I think, is a video from Filmento, which is a YouTube channel that I really like that does not just necessarily deep dives into movies the way that I do, but they do deep dives into like an element of a movie, and they've got a great one on John Wick and gun fu, sort of the gun fighting style that John Wick uses. It's a really cool look at it and a really thought-provoking and thoughtful video. So if you want a little bit of extra entertainment, check that out in the description. I'll also close out each Flicks of the Week with any kind of movie news. Not a lot of big movie news at the moment, at least not this particular week, but I just shot some behind the scenes stuff for a movie coming out later this year possibly, called Weekend Warriors. I'll be doing a full featurette on behind the scenes eventually as the movie is going to become available. But that was a really, really cool experience. I'm talking more about that in detail on the podcast this week. But if you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon supporter like one of these fine people. It helps protect me against demonetization, which YouTube is doing to almost every single one of my videos at the moment. Hopefully that doesn't keep up, but thank these folks in the comments because they're keeping this channel alive at the moment. But likes, comments, shares are always a great way to do it. But I will keep making Flicks of the Week episodes as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this return episode, and you will see me on the next one.
I won't stand for that. You say you got the touch. I think you talk too much. 'Cause I swear